Hey, what's up, y'all? Happy Friday. We have made it to another weekend, made it through another week. I don't know if it's just you, but I feel like this week has really flown by. I just did one of these videos, it feels like a day or two ago. But we're back another week and talking about a very special album and movie. I believe, if I remember correctly, this may be the first soundtrack vinyl that I've ever reviewed. And so appropriate that this is the 30th anniversary this year of the movie Sister Act 2 with Whoopi Goldberg, one of my favorite movies. This movie also really introduced Lauryn Hill to the world. People knew her. I think the Fugees were probably out around that time, or maybe just about to come out, but they weren't as big as they were during that time. So at this point, Killing Me Softly had not come out yet. Their album, The Score, was not out yet, which was more so around like the 95, 96 time frame, which was a perfect setup. I think really a lot of the group's success can probably be attributed to the Sister Act 2 movie because that was a big movie. And then there really wasn't much of a lull between that time and then when the album came out. Back in the 90s, when something was big, it had some sticking power to it, especially big movies, big albums, things like that. If you think back to even the Fugees' The Score album, that album had about a 2 year run, if not more. So as we're getting into the late 90s, kind of like 98, I would say, is when that album had really slowed down. But prior to that, it had about a good strong 2 years. Kind of feel like the same thing with this movie here. What's so crazy about this album? I was not looking for a record the day when I found this. Believe it or not, I found this in Walmart, and it's one of the cheapest albums I've ever purchased. It was on sale for about $14. Um, just sitting there in the shelf or on the shelf. I think it was the only one they had too. And cool thing is, it's actually a white vinyl. So not only was it cheap, but it's a pretty heavy grade vinyl, and it's white instead of the standard black. So I thought that was pretty cool. And for those of you who may be unfamiliar with some of the tracks, I'll go over some of those here. No frills or anything like that on the inside sleeve. Everything's all on the back. Not really even a lot of songs, to be honest, for the soundtrack. There are some songs that are featured from the movie. Actually, I think all of these songs, now that I think about it, were in the movie at some point. So there's only 12 tracks. My number one favorite, which I think is a lot of people's favorite, is His Eyes on the Sparrow, the rendition with Tanya Blunt and Lauryn Hill. I tell you, to this day, 30 years later, I don't think I've ever heard a better version that any mainstream singer has done that's better than this one. If y'all know of one, y'all let me know, drop it in the comments, but I haven't heard one better than this. I don't really know what happened to Tanya Blunt. It seems like her career just kind of stalled a little bit after the movie came out. I really thought that she was gonna pick up and take off after that. But they have some of the medleys, the standard songs from the movie too. So the greatest medley ever told, performed by Whoopi and the Ronells, which was her group before she became the Nun. The Get Up Off of That Thing song, that's on here. Oh, Happy Day, which features St. Francis Choir and Ryan Toby, which, if I'm not mistaken, Ryan Toby is the same guy that was also a member of the group City High. So again, kind of a platform there to launch something that came up later on. Ryan Toby's also featured on the song Pay Attention on here. If you remember the group Nothing Nice, if you're under 35, you probably don't, because I barely remember them, and I'm 38. They were a group of the 90s. Nothing Nice, or Nothing Nice. Uh, and Aretha Franklin has the Deeper Love song that was featured on here. Oh, High Five. So, really tragic and sad situation. The lead singer of that group passed away, I believe, a few years after the movie. But Never Should Have Let You Go by High Five. Oof, that is, they have several songs actually that I like, and that one is probably my favorite if I had to pick. I really, really love that song. Um, there's the Joyful Joyful, which also features Lauryn Hill. Again, another solo from Ryan Toby. Ryan Toby was really like all over this album now that I think about it. Um, and yeah, Whoopi Goldberg songs, and that's pretty much it. So I mean, not really a a whole lot of features other than the people who were featured in the movie, who just happen to be great singers as well, which I think is always really cool when you have people who are talented singers or rappers who star in movies, and they get a chance to take part in the soundtrack. But I think this is one of the best soundtracks of the 90s. Really is one of my favorite soundtracks, period. This movie just brings so much nostalgia. I've been hearing for a few years now that they're prepping to do a Sister Act 3, so hopefully that actually happens. I'd be interested to see that. I got to tell you though, I think that they have some work cut out for them, because Sister Act 2 is such a good movie to the point where I'm a little nervous of them trying to outdo what they did in Sister Act 2, because a lot of times when they try to come back with movies that have previously been done and there's been a huge gap in between. I think the only movies that I can think of off the top of my head that have done that very well are the Bad Boys series. Bad Boys 2 is still my favorite, but Bad Boys 3 was really good, and I felt like it was worth the wait. But let me know what y'all think about this Sister Act 2, the 30th anniversary of this movie and the soundtrack. What are some of your favorite songs from the soundtrack? What are some of your favorite moments from the movie? Have you even seen the movie? Again, if you're under 35, chances are maybe you haven't seen it. It was one of the biggest movies of the 90s, though. And like I said, really launched a lot of musicians from this movie, most notably Lauryn Hill. So let me know what you think. And thanks everybody for subscribing, commenting, sharing the videos, all that. I really, really appreciate you. And we'll see you next Friday. Peace.